Hi and welcome back to the channel. On this video, I'm going to be previewing the Aston Villa versus Arsenal game. I'm going to be taking you through my predicted starting lineup, what I think the final score is going to be, and also just some talking points in regards to the fixture itself. As we know, Arsenal lost both games, home and away last season, and hopefully this time around we'll be looking to turn those scores back around Arsenal's way. So if this is the kind of video that you like watching, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And most importantly, don't forget to share. It goes a long way in supporting this channel grow. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So as I mentioned at the beginning, Arsenal lost both games home and away last season. So hopefully this time around, we will be hopefully going to Villa Park and actually getting a result this time around in regards to a win. I just don't want to draw. I personally want to win. To be fair, Arsenal haven't really been doing too bad when we go to Villa Park. In the last 22 games at Villa Park, Arsenal have actually lost only 3. So we've actually got a good record at Villa Park usually when we go there. As we know, Unai Emery is obviously taking over. Since he's taken over, he seems to be getting one over Arteta in regards to the fixtures. We know we used to have Unai Emery. Clearly that didn't go well at Arsenal, but it is what it is. We move. Arteta has been doing well. We were obviously challenging for the title last season. And in my opinion, I believe the Aston Villa game towards the end of the season when we lost 2-0 at home was basically the turning point in regards to why we lost the league to Manchester City. I mean, if we'd won that game, and obviously, as you know, we won the rest of the games, I believe, we probably could have won the league way before the last day because it would have basically been in our hands. I mean, to be fair, it was. And obviously, having lost against Aston Villa, that was one of the reasons why basically we ended up losing the Premier League, in my opinion. As I said, Arsenal itself have a good record against Aston Villa. Arteta himself doesn't really have a good record against Unai Emery. As you guys know, almost every time he's played Unai Emery, he's pretty much lost almost every single time. So I'm sure this is something he would look to rectify. And how is the team looking going into this game? I mean, to be fair, we haven't really added much in comparison to last season to this squad. As it stands, I mean, David Raya, obviously, he's made his move permanent. And the only other permanent move that we've made is Calafiori. Apart from that, the team is basically the same thing. So the only difference is, I would think, is due to the experience of last season and maybe the season before in regards to games like this that are the one that basically the difference between winning the league and losing the league. I would hope that this is the game that they're going to rectify going forward. You know, we just basically have to get a result. And to be fair, if you look at it, right, Arsenal has one of the best away records in the Premier League going back almost 2 seasons now, apart obviously the Aston Villa game and I believe the Fulham game. We didn't really get a result against Fulham last season either. I think we got 1 draw and we lost 1. So again, those are the little games, and obviously we lost against West Ham as well. So those little games are the ones we need to be looking at come this season. As I said, we haven't really added much. So what is going to be the turning factor or the difference, how Arsenal are going to turn this around? So let's look at that. So personally, I think the fact that we're actually playing Aston Villa a little bit earlier in the season might actually potentially go our way. We don't know. As we know, all the teams are still sort of getting into their fitness and their sharpness. And it may be a case, obviously, I think this is Aston Villa's first game at home. Obviously, they played away last week, so Arsenal's first game away of the season as well. So there's a lot riding onto this because Arsenal will want to go into this game and rectify the results of last season. And I'm assuming Aston Villa will want to continue the upward trajectory of last season. Obviously, having beaten Arsenal home and away, I'm assuming they would want to go into this game knowing fully well they can get a result against Arsenal. So Arsenal definitely need to do something different. Personally, I do think that Arsenal played well against Aston Villa last season. In both games, we created chances. So it wasn't a case of like Aston Villa literally walked over us. We actually did create a lot of chances, but the problem was we weren't able to put away a lot of the chances that we actually created. You know, Havertz had a lot of chances, Saka. I mean, it goes to show because obviously the difficulty in this Premier League, you go into a game thinking that you got it in the bag and you're going to win, but it just goes to show that there's no team that you can take for granted. I mean, we do go into certain games expecting to win. It goes without saying because we are obviously challenging for the Premier League. So we are, as an Arsenal fan, we're expecting to win pretty much almost every game, you know, especially teams like Aston Villa. So Personally, I do think that we are going to make some changes in this game, maybe tweak a little things here and there. I don't know what, obviously, Arteta, you just never know what potentially he might go with. But let me just give you my starting lineup. Let me know in the comments below if you agree and what is your starting lineup. So let me get into that right now. So I've got it written down here. Obviously, in goal goes without saying. I mean, the only one keeper you can choose right now is David Raya in goal. And then within the back line, you've got Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. Now, the left back seems to be a tricky one because there's a lot of combinations that we can go with. We've got quite obviously good options right now. You've got Timber, you've got Zini, and now you've got Calafiori. Personally, in this game, I would be going with Jurrien Timber. I just think with that little glimpse of game time that he had against Wolves last week, he did look really good. He made one mistake or maybe a couple. Maybe I'm forgetting it, but remind me in the comments. But personally, in this game, I personally would be going for Jurrien Timber. It gives something different. He seems quite solid. He's got a bit of pace about him. He seems quite confident on the ball in regards to that. And I think obviously he can go into the midfield as well as an inverted left back. I personally would be going with Jurrien Timber in left back. Let me know what you think in the comments. In regards to the number 6 role, personally, I mean, the jury's still out with Thomas Partey, but I will still be sticking with Thomas Partey. I mean, if you look at it, the likelihood is Aston Villa are going to play Amadou Onana in their number 6 role. So I think someone like a Thomas Partey can pretty much do, if not a better job, or likely sort of on par job with Amadou Onana. So I personally will be sticking with Thomas Partey. I mean, we are linked with Mikel Merino. It's reported that he should obviously be signing for the Arsenal after fees have been agreed. But until then, I personally will be going with Thomas Partey. And obviously joining him in midfield would be Odegaard and Declan Rice. It just goes without saying. I think that's probably right now our strongest looking midfield if I was to choose. So basically that's what I would be going for. And obviously up front, again, it is a tricky one personally. It is a tricky one, but I mean, Saka starts all day for me. Now it's who starts in the number 9 role, who starts in the left wing role. I've gone with Kai Havertz. He scored last week. Yes, basically he scored and assisted last week, and I think he's pretty much cemented his place, and he deserves his place up front. I mean, Jesus, he's looking sharp, don't get me wrong, when he comes on, but I think he'll be a good addition when he comes off the bench, depending on how the game is going. And a controversial one for me on the left wing role, I've actually gone for Trossard. I did initially have Martinelli there, and I thought, you know what, after last week, and thinking back on it in regards to pre-season, Martinelli, I don't know, he doesn't seem himself from about a couple of seasons ago. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. But he just seems like he's a little bit off the pace a little bit, in my opinion. He is good. He's still a good threat to bring off the bench. Definitely, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not a great player. I love Martinelli, but I just think there's something that is stopping him from hitting those heights of last couple of seasons. And I think just because of this game, I personally would be going for Trossard. And again, like I said, if you've got someone like a Martinelli, a Jesus to come on from the bench, and Calafiori, for example, Jorginho to come on from the bench, you've got good options. You can literally almost change the front three, the front three line in terms of Jesus coming in maybe for Havertz dropping back, Partey coming off, Declan Rice going back to the number 6, Saka potentially comes off, and then you got Martinelli and Jorginho. It just seems like we've got a better strength in depth this season, even though we kind of did last season, but because obviously we didn't really have Jurrien Timber pretty much throughout the whole season, so we definitely missed him in that regard. So yeah, that would basically be my starting lineup. I mean, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. What would your starting lineup be? Would you start Trossard over Martinelli? Would you start Jurrien Timber over Zini and Calafiori? Let me know in the comments below, but definitely we've got good options to come off the bench. So in regards to my predicted score for this game, I've actually gone for a 3-1 win for the Arsenal. I do think Aston Villa do pose a threat up front. They can definitely score a goal. Arsenal are definitely going to tweak those minute issues. We did create chances. It wasn't like we didn't create chances. It's just a matter of putting those chances away. And I do feel we're a lot more confident. And I haven't lost the league on the last day of the season. I think there's a little bit more hunger in the players to basically rectify games like this, having lost home and away against Villa. Who would have written it last season? Possibly no one. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Aston Villa under Unai Emery looks a fantastic team. They look well drilled. They know what they're doing. They know what positions they're playing at. But I do think if we can put away the chances that we create, we've got a good, solid back four. And I just feel like these guys are a little bit more hungry this time around. And I just can't see anything but an Arsenal win. So I am going for a 3-1 away win for the Arsenal. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think in regards to this match. Who would you start in the starting 11? Left back is pretty much a questionable position in regards to who will start. Again, left wing as well. Maybe even in the number 6, you might want to tweak it a bit. Maybe it might even be a case of playing Declan Rice in the 6, Havertz dropping into the midfield into basically the 8, starting Jesus. There's so many different combinations. It's so exciting right now having predominantly the whole squad fit, apart Tomiyasu. But look, we're looking good. And I'm going into this game very confident, and I can't see anything else but an Arsenal win. I do think we're going to concede a goal, which is a shame because I'm hoping that we concede a lot less than we did last season. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think in regards to this game. So that is my preview for this Aston Villa game versus the Arsenal at Villa Park. Saturday evening, 5:30 kickoff UK time. If you haven't already, please consider liking and sharing this video. Most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It will go a long way in supporting myself and this channel in growing, and so that I can do more content like this for you guys in the coming days, weeks, months of this season.